Welcome back, everyone, to Higher Ground Financial Group, our radio show with Raz and Daniel. Daniel's a tax attorney, and we focus really on retirement income. What are the different pitfalls and advantages and things like that? And we're going to talk a little bit more about mortgages today. A lot of people think, well, I want to retire and not have a mortgage. That's just so much peace of mind. It would be so good if when I'm retired, I have no mortgage to pay. I'll be living free and clear.
When I see a client with a paid off house, my stress level goes up. It feels to me that you should be more stressed having a paid off house than you would otherwise.
And why is that? Why would a paid off house give you more stress?
Well, when I have a paid off house, that means I have a large chunk of money that is not invested and that is not accessible without some really difficult methods to access it.
But isn't it growing?
No, the equity in your house is never going to grow. That is a myth. The equity in your house never is going to grow. If
What you talking about?
So if you have a house, then the house goes up in value, and then it will go up in value regardless of what you owe on it.
So the equity is not growing; it's being added.
Yes. So if your house is worth $500,000 now, and next year it's worth 600,000, you gained 100,000 of equity.
But that has nothing to do with how much money you own it.
Yeah, you might have been paid off, or you might have owed 400,000 on it. It will still be worth 600,000 next year. Or if it loses value, it will also lose value whether you owe money on it or not. So the equity that changes has nothing to do with your mortgage. Your money in the house is not invested, is not earning anything. Now, you might be thinking, well, if I take it out, I'll have to pay interest. So, that's going to go against whatever I earn as well. And so it is, that's a good thing to think about. Make sure you have more interest that you could earn than what you're going to pay in interest. That's a conversation you should have. But just having it sitting inside in the house, it really does not make sense for most people. What if you have an emergency? What if you need to get to that money? Well, the only two ways to get money out of a house are to take a mortgage out or to sell it. If you have an emergency that requires you to access a large amount of money all at once, that means you probably have some financial trouble, which would make it not possible for you to get a loan. So you won't be able to get a loan when you need to. And if you want to sell it, it may not be the right time to sell. The market might be in a down year, and it's not a good time to sell your house.
Or you have to settle for less because you need the money fast.
Right. So having a paid off house is not a secure thing in retirement. Really, any real estate you want to have a mortgage on, if at all possible. And then you should have the money to pay off the house. So financial security or financial independence with regard to your house is having enough money to pay it off and not doing so.
Yeah. So if you have $1 million house, it's nice to have $1 million in assets that you could always pay the house off if you wanted to, but you don't want to. And that way, the house you still aren't paying mortgage on. It's fine. But you know what? If you really have a hiccup and you really have to pay it off for whatever reason, I can't think of a reason, but if you do, you can always pay it off. But if the other way, you can't. If you have $1 million house and it's paid off and you need the money, you may not be able to get the money out. You might only be able to sell it for 700,000 because it's a fire sale and you got to get the money quick. Now you just lost 300,000.
Exactly.
It's not a good idea.
So what do some of our clients use their home equity for in retirement? Well, one is for emergencies. If they don't have the house paid off, they have the money somewhere else, they can use it for emergencies, like we just talked about.
Yeah, they can also use it to convert to Roth, IRA to Roth. You can use home equity. And the reason to use home equity to convert an IRA to Roth is once it's converted to Roth, you can always take the money out of a Roth. You just can't add money to it.
So let's back up a minute. You're saying I can turn my house into an IRA, a Roth IRA?
No. What I'm saying is, if you want to convert your IRA to Roth, you got to come up with the money from someplace. What if you don't have the money?
So I have $500,000 in IRA, and I want to convert it to Roth. So I have to pay the tax on that to make it Roth. So that $500,000, let's say I'm going to pay $150,000 in taxes.
So I may not have $150,000 in cash. So what do I do?
Well, we can withhold it from the IRA. Now I have only $350,000 in the IRA, but it's all Roth.
Yeah. So that's one option. But if you decide you won't do that, you can't add more money to the Roth because it's limited.
Right.
So but if you take the money from someplace else, well, I don't have money, but I have equity. I have $500,000 of equity in the house, so I could take $150,000 of that equity out, pay the money, pay the taxes on that IRA conversion. Now I still have $500,000 in Roth instead of only $350,000,
and it's all tax free. So then next year you have a heart attack and you say, and despite what you say, Raz and Daniel, I'm actually still stressed. I want to pay off the house. Well, take it out of the Roth IRA now and pay off the house. There's no tax. But the other way around would not work. If you reduce your IRA and pay the tax out of the IRA, then you will never be able to contribute more to it later on that level if you decide later that, oh yeah, I could have used home equity. So a lot of our clients do use home equity to pay the taxes on Roth conversions because the money is not gone. It's still accessible. You can still take it back out of the IRA and pay off the house later if you want to.
So we're all about options. We want you to have as many options for as long as possible, so you can make decisions and you can change decisions if the times and